Poppin' Chop Squad, it's your boy, Slate D Biggs for AnimeMCS, here today to do a short little video, which is kind of a promo for the podcast that I just started with the other half of AnimeMCS, Abyss Walker, the edgiest edge boy around. He just has yet to put his first video up. He told me that he's actually working on his first video. He's got the whole concept down, so it's a start. Be on the lookout for the first Abyss video. It's coming. So the purpose of this video is to give you my top 10 anime of the winter 2020 season. Not that they are the top 10 out of everything in the season. It's just out of everything that I watched, I wanted to rank it. What sucked the hardest? What was the most dope? I'll start with what sucked the hardest. Number 10, Infinite Dendrogram. The only thing I found intriguing about that show was the whole system on how the game runs. Honestly, if you could just kill an NPC and they would die, people would be murdering everything. The game would be empty. There'd be no people. I did not like Ray Starling. I didn't think he was an interesting character. Nemesis failed at being a waifu. I've been calling it Infinite Doo-Doo-Gram. And I promised myself, I even told you guys, that I would watch every single episode of whatever series I started this winter. And I'm sorry, I broke my promise. I am not finishing Infinite Dendrogram. The second to last episode just came out. It still has one more. And all the other winter series have ended. So while I'm getting into all of the spring stuff that's coming in, there's no way I'm gonna sit down and suffer through more Infinite Doo-Doo-Gram. My number 9 is Toilet Bound Hanako. The nicest thing I have to say about that show is I actually liked the character Tsukasa, who was like Hanako's evil brother, who's like the polar opposite of Hanako. I wish they would have focused more on him. I didn't like the main girl, Nene. Overall, the only thing that I really was interested in with that show is the art. And the art stayed nice. It was a beautiful, different kind of thing. But that's the only thing that kept my attention in the anime. Just wasn't my thing, I guess. My number 8 is Inspector, or Kyoko Sweetie. I actually really liked the concept of the show. I liked the main characters even. But I wish they would have focused more on like their relationship, because they were saying they're dating halfway through the series and there's no semblance of like any kind of connection with them until the last episode. And overall, when it was kind of like a spirit detective type thing, I was really enjoying the episodes. But then they spent over half the series on this Steel Lady Nanase fiasco. And I understand why it was important to like flesh out the difference between Kuro and his cousin, and how she's trying to like get back to some sort of normalcy. But overall, the anime just lost a lot of my attention. The opening and the ending song are pretty fire. Other than that, Inspector was just kinda alright. I'm gonna have to give Darwin's Game to number 7, and not because it's bad, just because I liked everything else that came out more. Darwin's Game actually surprised me with how much I ended up liking it. I thought the series finale was really cool. It was a nice setup for a second season, and I ended up actually liking all the characters. At first, Kaname was pretty boring. He didn't really I didn't start to really like him as a character until basically the last episode or two. I thought it was just going to be a boring, edgy deathmatch thing, and I wasn't going to be able to get past it, reminding me of Future Diary. And in a lot of aspects, I think Future Diary is a much better show, but I'm not trying to compare it to all those other shows. Just for what it is, Darwin's Game lands on number 7 for me. My number 6 is Defense Girl, BOFURI. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll just max out my defense. I thought it was going to be super boring isekai trash, and I was pleasantly surprised when I found out it was actually really fun and cute. The fights were kind of cool, and a lot of the comedy comes from The main character, Maple, just kind of bumbling through the game and getting like the most crazy, insane power-ups and just being like a cute, clueless girl. But she's actually like a demon. Where I did find that it was funny, cute, it kept my attention the whole time, and it was an enjoyable watch. There weren't any stakes through the whole series, and that's okay because that's not what the series is built for. It's things like that that add more to a series for me, which is why if I compared it to something like Cautious Hero from the prior anime season, it wouldn't even be close to Cautious Hero. Cautious Hero was amazing. Enough of that though. I'm going to go to now my number 5, which is Pet. Pet aired on Amazon Prime, so I don't think a lot of people saw it. It was supposed to come out last season, and it ended up hitting this winter instead. And I was kind of surprised at how much I liked it. It initially comes off as like generic and boring if you just like look at it. But really getting into it, I love how they explore the mental maps of people. And I ended up, like all the characters that I hated in the series, like Katsuragi, I ended up just feeling really bad for him. I wish we got more into the company that they're working for. What does the company do even? It just kind of like had a huge climax and the series ended. And from what I've heard, that's also where the series ended in the manga. So I don't think we're getting a season 2, but it was pretty built up. They could very well do a season 2 of Pet. I would really enjoy getting into it. I liked the series a lot, and the ending was the strongest for me. Now at first, if you just watch the first episode and you don't go any further, you're gonna be super confused, and I understand that, because when I just got, like, I finished the first episode, I didn't know what to think of the series, because they just like cold open you into mysterious shit. And you're seeing the mind bending from the perspective of the person who it's being done to. Enough about Pet though. Now we're gonna go to my number 4, which is Id Invaded. Very similar to Pet in a lot of ways with how they explore people's mental maps. They don't willingly do it though. To explore someone's id well, they have to be a serial killer basically. And I don't know how that makes the specific cognition particles that they pick up with their little radar guns, and then it makes the idwell. I don't know why they have to be a serial killer, but that's how the show works. Now, this show is really, really sci-fi in certain ways, if you're just looking at the idwell stuff. Other than that, the world seems to be pretty normal. It's not like a dystopian future like Psycho-Pass. The whole overall world isn't as interesting, but I found the characters to be really intriguing. The first serial killer they introduced, the Perforator, or Fukuda, I end up really liking him overall as a character. In a lot of ways, this series is truly a tragedy of some sort, but there is a sort of light at the end of the tunnel for Sakaido, where he finds some sort of solace. He kind of accepts everything that's happened to him, and he's gonna try and move on. Even though he's basically a damn slave and he's a prisoner for maybe the rest of his life, he's forced to go into idwells and solve mysteries for the investigators. So I mean, at least he feels better about life. The ending stuck the landing though. I thought it was a nice definitive wrapped up package. I really wouldn't mind if they did a season 2, but I don't think it's necessary. And this anime just really kept my attention. I think it deserves to be that high. My number 3 pick is Dorohedoro. Now at first you might look at an anime that is basically all CG with the backgrounds being drawn or painted as like really off-putting, and there's some moments here and there where it's kinda iffy, but overall I didn't really mind it. I ended up liking it a hell of a lot more than I thought I would. The atmosphere of Hull, the city they live in, is just really dark. They have a zombie episode. They go outside of Hull where all of the like magic users and wizards and shit live. I think Kaimon is a dope character, and definitely waifu of the season belongs to Dorohedoro's Nikaido. Nikaido is a bad bitch. She will kick your face in make you food, and she's super damn cute. I really enjoyed watching Dota Hey Dodo legally. And overall, I highly recommend it. I would compare it in a kind of weird way to older series like Berserk. So yeah, Dota Hey Dodo, I can't wait till it all hits Netflix here in the United States. I'm going to rewatch it. I'm super excited for that. But now going on to my number 2, and that is Somali and the Forest Spirit. So Somali and the Forest Spirit might not be a hit anime for a lot of people, but from my perspective, I, who am a father myself of a daughter, Somali hits you in a couple ways. Like, her relationship with the golem is beautiful. And what he's trying to do, he uprooted everything that he's known for over 900 years to try and bring this little girl to safety. He cares about her, he loves her, he worries about her, he has feelings, and he doesn't even acknowledge it until the end of the series. There's like moments throughout the whole season where you're like, dude, this guy, he loves Somali, but he's like, golems don't feel anything. Bullshit. You love that little girl. The most heartbreaking part about this anime is that from the very beginning, you know the golem's body is breaking down, and he has a very, very specific lifespan. And by the end of the series, he could honestly fall over at any moment, and that would be the end of him. But the last episode, it had me crying. I will admit, it hit me really hard. And this series is just something that I'm going to look back on and maybe rewatch with my daughter one day. I loved the beautiful story of Somali and the golem and their travels. The side characters were really dope. It's just a really original anime, and I gotta say, the art was really beautiful as well. And because it hit me so close in a lot of ways, Somali is definitely my number 2. It even made me reconsider my number 1 just a little bit. But number 1 of this season for me was pretty unmovable. So my number 1 for this season, by far, is Keep Your Hands Off Eizoken. I know what it's like to just get totally sucked into something. I myself, whenever I was 14, I got obsessed with making my own manga. I did art and I drew, I painted. I've been really into art my whole life. So whenever I really got into drawing my own manga, I would spend like 5-6 hours a night. Instead of doing homework, like a dum-dum, I was drawing manga. I was up till like 2-3 in the morning. I'd barely sleep. I'd go to school. I like pass my manga around to friends. They're like, dude, I want to read it. And then one day, this little fucking asshole got a hold of my manga. He took it from whoever I was letting borrow it, and he wrote over all of the word bubbles, and he scribbled over the characters, and it broke my heart. Screw you, dude. That wasn't nice. It kind of killed my passion for making manga and drawing a little bit, just seeing something that I worked so hard to create be destroyed so carelessly. But anyway, I'm gonna get back on topic. Eizoken is about specifically 2 girls that are really, really, really passionate about animating. They want to make an anime. They love drawing manga, creating worlds. And the third one in the trio sees the money signs in it. Especially considering one of the animators is a super famous model who does like brand work, and everybody knows who she is. So they use her likeness to push a lot of the anime. It's really funny. The whole show is hilarious. The characters are really quirky. Asakusa, I love it whenever she goes into a tangent because it like envelops them in the world that she's creating. And while they're in this world, it's all like sketch style and watercolors. It really is a work of art. The OST in the show is really awesome. And speaking of the sound of the show, whenever they go into these crazy worlds that they're designing, it's all mouth noises from specifically, I think, Asakusa's voice actress. The show's hilarious, quirky, colorful. Every episode is like, it draws me in, it keeps me there in a nice, warm, happy place. I can't help but smile while watching the show. Also, I was anticipating it because I watched Devilman Crybaby a couple years ago. I just watched Ping Pong the animation while watching episodes of Keep Your Hands Off Eizoken, and I gotta say, look forward to anything that Yuasa does. So to relate all this back to the podcast, the first episode is about every show that me and Abyss watched this winter. He watched more stuff than I did, like he watched the new Haikyuu season, Shiaya Furu 3, Railgun. Yeah, he's watched a lot more anime than me, I'll admit it. But I wanted to give you guys this little video to break down where I would rank all of the anime that I watched. If you want a longer format of me and my brother discussing all of these anime, the podcast is totally available. I will link it in the description. It's on Spotify. It's on Anchor. Typically, I'm going to try to keep episodes down to like maybe an hour-ish. But I'm pretty good at letting them run over, I'll be honest. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you checked out the podcast, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and just look forward to everything that we make in the future, because we're going to keep going. It's only going to get better. I'm going to get better editing equipment, better video stuff. It's coming, baby. After the world calms down a bit, probably, because it's fucking wild right now, bro. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.